on this episode of Medium at Heart. Why do we have pie on? Not with Matthew pie, but food pie. And we'll welcome a guest who had a life-changing conversation with my sister when Annette helped her connect with a loved one. Welcome to Medium at Heart. I'm Angela.
And I'm Annette.
And my sister is the medium.
And my sister's my amazing host.
You didn't say this week, and I think you could be one too.
I gave up on it.
Yeah. Yeah, so she thinks, well, you know, Annette, rightfully so, I think a lot of us have intuition.
Oh, 100%.
The thing about intuition is we have it, we feel it, but we don't always honor that.
I know. We always second guess it. I feel, but everybody does that. It's hard not to.
It's hard not to, but we have to work on that, following our intuition more. So my sister is a medium, and you've told your story, and we were in our house in Irvington, and we were in our bedroom that we shared, and you saw some people from the other side.
Sure. Yeah.
And I did not see them.
No. No.
So you knew that you had this gift. And what you might see on the set today, what you will see on the set today is a lot of the color yellow. So yellow was my mom's favorite color, and you got the gift of mediumship from my mom. Although my mom didn't practice it, she definitely had the gift.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And she talked to you about it.
We talked about it, especially as I got older, and I said, okay, I went to her and I said, we have to talk because, you know, after the surgery, that's when it really came to fruition. And I said, I need to do something with this. And she helped me.
And how old were you when you had your open heart surgery?
27.
Even though you had experiences seeing people who crossed over before, it was that surgery that was your aha moment.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
And ever since? You've been seeing people and communicating with people.
Yes.
So in Irvington, we had this, in our little house in Irvington, we had a backyard that was really sort of vibrant and fertile for this beautiful berry tree.
Yes.
And we didn't really know what to do with it. We didn't eat them, but every season it would create this incredible, beautiful purple mud towards the back of the yard. But to the right of the yard and along the fence, there was this little patch of daffodils. And no matter what, year after year, this intrepid little pack of daffodils would sprout up out of that soil every spring. And since then, for myself personally, I do see signs about daffodils.
Oh, yeah. And I remember seeing them, you know, when they would bloom, and I would get so excited because you knew that the season was changing, you know?
That there was a new chapter. There was an opportunity. Spring was coming. And so that was very meaningful. And I think as you go through life, you connect these things to your loved ones who've passed.
And they send those signs that are very familiar to you and bring you back to a feel-good place.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, they use that. So you definitely know it's them because you can, you know, connect it.
I heard recently a song that I had never heard before, Secret Love by George Michael. And it's such a beautiful song. And I just happened to, for some reason, tune into the words very randomly. You know how you'll listen to a song sort of not really paying attention, and the word daffodil is in the song. And it's not a word or a type of flower that you hear a lot about. So I was like, got it. And it was nice, and it's very comforting when you do receive these signs.
Are you more open now since we started this? So much more
open.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah,
so
much more. How about you, producer Ben?
Are you?
Oh, I am. I definitely am.
Oh,
definitely,
good. I'm glad.
am.
We all should be.
Very, very. It's just, I love when you come in here and you're like, hey, wait a second, you got something behind you. I'm like, oh, I'm glad they're watching over me. So it's good.
Yes.
So thank you.
It's a good feeling.
Always.
It is a good feeling. I agree.
And we have heard from our listeners. Thank you so much to everyone who's become part of the Medium at Heart community. Follow us on Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have heard from a lot of you that you also now have been looking for the signs, or not even in looking at them so much as surrendering to them and noticing them.
Yes,
because
100%.
I think that's important, right, Annette?
You
talk
recognize
about that.
them. Yes, more. And we all need that in life, I feel, you know.
Well, and they
the
come
support.
there comes a time when they really sort of bring you that comfort, like you use the word comfort, Ben, and that bit of healing that we need. So we do have a pie on the set today. It's a lemon lime pie, and there's a reason that we have that pie on the set today, but we're going to get to that a little bit later. First of
Yes.
all, Annette and I love desserts. We also have lemon cookies. Again, kind of
Always.
keeping with the yellow theme, and there's a reason for that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
But first, we want to welcome a very special guest to the Medium at Heart podcast. We're going to put our headsets on. And we just, first of all, want to say thank you so much, Dawn, for being a part of our podcast today. And you have some stories to share. Hi.
Hi, Dawn.
Hi. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Dawn joining us from New Jersey, another Jersey girl.
Yes.
And Dawn, tell us about your experience, maybe your first experience with Annette, and potentially how that sort of changed. You were going through something in your life, and how maybe that kind of changed the trajectory for you of what you were going through.
Oh, sure, of course. I met Annette actually through a friend. We both lived in the same town, but our kids were a little bit different in age. So I didn't know her personally until I was introduced to her. And I had a friend that came up to me. I had a brother who died in a car accident with no answers. They just found him wrapped around a tree, and there was no answer on what happened. And it was really devastating to the family. He was very young. And she said, I really think that you need to sit down with my girlfriend, Annette. Are you open? And the great thing is, I was totally open. I was somebody of spirituality to begin with. I totally believe in the signs and that they're all around us. So I was definitely open to sitting with her. So I called her, made our first appointment, and went over her house and sat down with her. And it was the first time that she met me. So she knew really not that much about me. And everything that she shared was just incredible. We first started off by obviously, like, her just getting to feel him come through, and he came through really, really quickly. My brother, he's a force to reckon with. When he wants to be heard, he's heard. And he came through to tell her that he was okay. So what had happened is, I was in Disney with the family the week before, and I hadn't talked to him for a week. And there was a little bit of a squabble, like, throughout the family for a couple of days there. And when he died and when he passed away, we didn't really have any closure. And he just wanted us to let us know that he was okay. She wouldn't have known anything about that other side of it. But she went on to give me so many incredible little clues that let me know he's there and that he's watching. The first one is that he came through right away with a voice. And when he wants to talk, everybody else has to stop talking. So I knew that that was definitely him. He pushed away, I think it was my uncle at the time, because he had a lot to say. But she talked about um these keys that, like, somebody had. And she did this with my sister actually on her reading as well, that there were these keys that were of marks, and my sister had them. And he was very happy that she had them, and she keeps them with her all the time. And she talked about, she kept drawing. She says, I see, like drawing, like an artist or drawing. And his wife was an artist, and she wanted to create his headstone. And she wrote the letter A down. Like, she was like, just write the letter A down. And her name was, started with an A. So the fact that she was an artist, she wanted to create his headstone, that her name started with an A, like all things that were, really relevant at the time. She talked also about, like, he smoked a lot. My brother was a heavy smoker. And she said he's going to come around a lot in sense and through electricity. So after our reading, I called my mom to tell her all about it. My mother also believes in this as well as my sister. So it was nice that the whole family was all bought in from the beginning. And I told my mother about the scents, and she says, I smelled cigarettes in my garage. I smelled smoke in my garage. So it made me comforting, like, just knowing that he was there with her. I smell coffee in my house. Like, I when I'm having a bad moment and I kind of like yell, like, Mark, I need you right now. Like, feathers appear. I shared with Annette the other day that, like, my whole garage was like filled with feathers one day. They just kept coming in. I even did a little video about it and posted it. And then he started putting them in the pool. And I'm like, all right, now you got to make me work. So you just keep them in the garage. Don't put them in the pool. But the one thing that she really, really shared, that there was two things that totally changed it for me, where I just know Mark is always there, is she said he's going to come through electricity. And when we were sitting there talking and just having a really heart to heart, and She says, you have a younger son that has this gift. And I asked him permission, Annette, before I shared this
Okay,
today,
good.
because I wanted to make sure that he was okay with it. And he said, absolutely. So and Annette is not actually the first person that's told me this with my younger son. And she says, your younger son has a gift. And I just want you to know if he ever has any questions or he wants to talk about it or he's kind of confused or scared, tell me he can reach out to me. He was young at the time. I mean, my gosh, it was, over 10 years ago, 15 years ago. He was little, like 6 or 7. And I came home from Annette's house and I sat down with both my boys and I told them, I said, to my older son, Uncle Mark is always on the baseball bench with you when you play baseball. And I said to my younger son, like he's always with you. And I shared that Annette thinks that you have this. Like, do you ever feel that you do? And he looked at me like a deer in headlights. And I said, what? And he says, Mom, when I'm in bed, I see people walking in the hall. And I said, why didn't you ever call like us, your mother or your father? And he says, I just turned my back to the wall and I shut my door. And we had always left our kids' bedroom doors open so that we could hear them in case they needed us at night. And so now his door was shut after that because it scared him. So I said, did you ever want to talk about it or do anything? And he's like, no. So I knew that he wasn't at the time ready. And then my older son, they were walking upstairs to our bedroom. And I told you that Annette said he would come through electricity. So I just shared with them that Uncle Mark is going to come through with this electricity. And they were walking up into our bedroom. And the light that goes from up into my bedroom just started flickering uncontrollably, like just uncontrollably. So they both came running up the stairs. My younger one was actually excited and my older one was very frightened. So I asked Mark, please don't give my older son signs anymore. You can give them all to me. Don't give them to him right now until he's a little bit open. So there's just been so many great little nuggets that she's given me that makes me know that he's here. And I think that that's what's comforting is knowing that your loved ones are here.
Wow.
Wow. He was strong. I remember. I remember when I first sat down with you for the reading, how strong he came through and just, like you said, pushed everybody aside. And yeah, there were a lot of messages from then till now for you.
Dawn, do you
Yeah.
feel like I'm sorry. Do
No,
you
no, go
feel
ahead.
like that do you feel comforted? Like the first time that you knew he was around you, the first time Annette conveyed that message, what did that feel like for you?
It was comforting, especially like I said, I hadn't talked to him in over a week because I was away with the family and we actually had a little bit of a squabble. So like I hadn't spoken to him. I mean, he lived very close. He lived in the next town over. So he was always over the house. He was he's my best friend. He was my youngest son's true partner. Like he would come over. My son would leap in his arms. Like thank God he always caught him. So it was just comforting knowing that he was okay. And he just kept saying like, I'm okay. Like I'm okay. So it was very comforting just knowing that, because we didn't know how he passed either. I mean, he was found by somebody that drove by where he hit the tree. So there was no closure. There was just no closure on what happened to him.
That's very powerful.
So nice.
And then
So
Dawn, I know there was a situation too where you were going through something and like so many of us, we can dig our heels in sometimes, but then Annette was able to tell you, kind
Yeah.
of let it go, right?
Yeah.
And coming from Annette, though, that meant something to you.
Oh, because everybody else was saying it too, but it didn't matter. So I was going through a really personal time a few years back, and I won't share the personal thing I was going through, but I was holding on to something like a tangible thing. I just was holding on to it, and it was delaying an entire process by me holding on to this. And my friends are like, just like who cares? Like, and I kept saying, nope, nope, like And out of nowhere, I mean, I probably hadn't spoken to Annette in months, and out of nowhere she texted me, my phone went off. And whenever it says Annette, like, I don't care what I'm doing, I'm grabbing that phone and I'm looking at it.
that's
And all it said is, your brother says, let it go. Like, let the item go. And that was it. That's all I needed. And I immediately let it go. And then the process happened and I just moved on.
Wow, that's a very strong message.
I think when
Yeah.
you're going through something and your loved one tries to get a message to you, you really don't see it or hear it because of everything that's going on emotionally, But he found a way to get you that message. And I obviously, you know,
You were
It
right
was
on
not
it.
only, yeah,
those
it
were
just,
his exact words. That's what I don't say anything different, only what they say.
It's just very powerful. And it's very moving, Dawn, all of this. It's very emotional and it's very moving. And how do you feel about your son having this gift?
When I asked him the other day, like, is it okay if I share with Annette, what she told me? And he said, yeah. And I said, do you ever still think about it? And now, like, I think he's a little bit more open. He's like, I do. And he's like, it scared him back then. I mean, he was young, and to lay in bed and have your eyes open and see people walking in the hall probably was frightening. I'm surprised he never screamed for us, but, he's always been intuitive. He's always been like just an old soul. Like, that's the best description I can give of him. And, maybe one day I would hope that he would pursue whatever gift he has, because it can help so many people.
Yeah.
Now, Annette, Dawn, do you talk to Mark and Annette? You have said in the past, like, we can talk out loud, we can speak to
Oh, yeah, I
our
think they
loved
hear
ones.
us. Absolutely.
Do you find
And I
yourself?
think it helps us too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm always talking to Mark, and, I was sharing with Annette too the other day that, like, he hasn't been around lately. And I know when he's here. Like, I can feel when he's here. I know when he's here. I see the signs. Like, I'm open to them. So I'm more observant. Like you shared earlier, they're all there. People just are not as observant because they're not expecting them or they're not looking for them. So I know when they're there, but he hasn't been around. And but I said to her, he's where he belongs, because my mother's not doing so well. So, like, he's where he's supposed to be. I guarantee he's at her house right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's where he should be.
Hmm.
Wow. It's like a big hug. It's like when their presence, those signs are like the hug that you need, and that validation
Yeah.
that he's with you, or he's never far. He's never far.
Yeah. 100%.
He's never far, but he's okay. And I think that that's always been the message that I got from Annette. Like, he's okay, because we all worry, like, about our loved ones that pass, and, what happens to them, or are they okay? Or especially if they go at a young age or unexpectedly, but he's okay.
He's okay.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It makes me cry.
I know.
It's very moving, and it's very, very powerful, Dawn. And I'm so grateful that you took the time to share your story, because I think it lets other people know too that our loved ones are never far. Our loved ones are near.
Hmm.
They are.
And it's such comfort. It's a healing, really.
It is. It absolutely is. Sometimes
It's
we
a
need it more
healing.
than.
And I tell Annette all the time, like, she's just this beautiful angel that came down to us. And,
Thank you.
she really is. So we are
Thank
all so
you.
blessed.
Thanks, Dawn.
Thank
I
you. Are
appreciate
you
it.
kidding? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dawn, for joining us on Medium
You're
at
welcome.
Heart. And I hope that we will see you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me, both of you. Thank you.
Thanks,
appreciate
Dawn.
you.
Talk soon.
Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Such a powerful interview that we had recorded previously with Dawn. And we're so grateful that Dawn shared her story. And now we have another story to share. And if you noticed, I have pulled these lemon cookies directly in front of me. Delish. But there's something about lemons that you would like to share, Annette. And you may also want to share one of these cookies.
Well, I love sweets. Everyone who knows me knows I love sweets. So cookies are here for that reason. And another reason. So I had a reading recently, and her grandmother came through and gave some really good messages. And then towards the end, like I say, I always try and get one last. She said, I'm always around you, your sister, and your mom. And Grandpa and I like to sit on the rockers. I said, and she's also making me say the word lemon. She's making me say the name, like she's making me say lemon. And she said, well, me, my sister, and my mom love to sit out on my mom's porch. There's rocking chairs. And the three of us just started to read a book, and the character's name in the book is Lemon.
Aww.
Isn't that cute?
That is so,
I know.
it's so meaningful.
Yeah, and and it's funny. Okay, let me tell you why it's interesting. Because she didn't show me a lemon. I didn't smell lemon. I didn't, want to taste lemon. Like, she wanted me to say lemon, like the name lemon, or the word lemon, excuse me. So, that was a pretty cute validation. She got many, many more, but that's a good connection. Yeah, lemon.
That is good, because again,
rockers.
we talk about you get the message, you convey the message,
Yes.
and sometimes it's literal. Sometimes it's just slightly adjacent to what we think it might be. Like we assumed lemon, the flavor.
Right. Right. But now in all the years I'm doing this, I listen more closely when she said say lemon. So I said, she's telling me to say lemon.
You're a good messenger. You're very good. You're
Thanks.
very clear.
Yeah, so that was nice, and she got a lot of other validations. And now she says that her mom and her sister are going to really enjoy even more being on the rocking chairs on the porch.
That's so. It just sounds so peaceful.
So nice, it really
lovely.
is. Yeah.
Wow. Well, once again, we are so grateful that you are here as part of the Medium at Heart community. We would love you to follow us on Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube channel, get yourself a snack.
Yes, keep sending me messages because I love hearing about it. I love hearing about the validations and the connections and everything else.
And our email address is mediumatheart@gmail.com. We are on all the socials as well, and we look forward to seeing you next time as we dive into these
Oh,
delicious
absolutely.
treats.
Have a good day.
I'm gonna take this. I should have thanked